And then how did that change over the years? Because obviously at some point you had to stop going to people's
That's
homes.
enormously prior.
Yeah.
And I was still going.
Yeah.
No, we made a big stop in Ocean Pines. First, our circulation was nothing.
Really?
Elsie remembers that. We would sit here maybe half hour, 3/4 of an hour.
North Gate.
At
It was
North-
only the North Gate
Yeah,
then.
that's all it was.
Right.
And my adventure with the gate man, I'm coming on the bridge, North Gate, and they had somebody in the gatehouse. And he looks at me, and I'm driving, you know, this big rig, and it says Bookmobile on the front of it with Worcester County. And he said, "Can I help you? What are you here for?" Almost, duh. But he let me on. And we would go up Ocean Parkway and blow the horn to let people know we're here, but we parked at Whitehorse Park.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And eventually people, you know, started coming on, and it was a big stop. And at the end, I was here 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. So do you think the Bookmobile played a big part in getting a library
Oh,
here, a building
Most
here?
definitely.
Really?
Yes,
Really?
right.
Okay.
It did, because they really used it. My
Yes,
circulation here was great. It was, I did it on the last part on a Saturday morning, and I had one other stop. I had Newark on my way back, and my circulation was easy, 250, 300.
Really? Wow. Wow. I know you have great Bookmobile stories. You must have great Bookmobile stories. So let's start with some of the, how did you get around in the snow? I mean, did you cancel? Did you just plow through?
Sometimes we had to.
Sometimes you had to.
Yeah. There at the end, when I was on there by myself, if it was too icy, I would cancel the run because we had too many back roads, way too many.
Right.
And a snowplow or anything hadn't been on,
Right.
so we just had to. We were real cold in the winter.
Yes.
Really?
Hot in the summer.
And hot in the summer. Somebody asked me the other day, was it air conditioning? I said, are you
No.
kidding? I think not. So,
$13,000 in that couple of years.
but we had a heating system that was really something. You remember that, Elsie? It was heated by propane gas, and it was a heater on the Bookmobile, but you could not keep it on while you're driving. You had to turn it off. When you stopped, you had to light it. Now, 9 times out of 10, it wouldn't light on the So, a lot of people were quite chilly on the Bookmobile.
And hot in the summer, it sounds like.
Scorching.
Really? Yeah. And I guess you couldn't open the windows and drive down the road because,
Well, there weren't
well, there weren't
only
any
windows on the
windows.
top.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was all.
Yeah, you
That's
could,
funny.
that one had windows at the top.
The sunroof.
That was
Did you ever get stuck anywhere?
What?
Did you ever get stuck anywhere?
No.
I know somebody was talking about mechanical issues at one point.
Never gotten stuck,
No?
but
on your mechanical ability.
my mechanical ability. As we were coming down 113 from Bishopville, there used to be a pretty severe curve coming toward Berlin. And the muffler, this was the new one, the muffler dropped off and was dragging the highway. So I pulled off on that curve and saw what was happening, and I crawled underneath. I couldn't do it today, but I crawled underneath and to see what could be done. And I don't know, it was B or you. Handed me, I said, give me a coat hanger, because we had that little closet in the back. And so I crawled underneath and fastened the muffler up with the coat hanger. And it took the mechanic a half hour to undo it.
Anyways. Now, was Bookmobile always staffed by women?
Yes, with the exception of our library director, Mr. Wendell Arnott. He decided that he wanted to take it to Assateague. I don't think that lasted very long.
No. Really? It went to Assateague?
Yes, I think it was on a Saturday.
That he took it.
Really?
But she said, and that was the end of the man on the
Yeah, that was the end of the man. As far as I know, it was the end of the man on the
That was it.
Bookmobile.
Now tell me about some of the other women that you worked with. And I know you mentioned Bee.
Well, Bee was special.
Yes, you were. Very special.
And at this point in time, 60s, right? Racial relations were a little iffy, if you remember. Bee was African American. And I know when she first got on the Bookmobile with me, she kind of wondered what was going on. She didn't know me very well, or she would have not had any qualms whatsoever. But she was just a real special lady.
Yes.
So you guys
Yeah,
have
so we
really
don't-
seen just kind of all kinds of changes in the
I think
county
one
and
of
the
the big
society.
changes was, you're speaking of Mr. Tubbs in Bishopville, large print and recordings, and they started out as recordings, and you had to get them out of Pratt. And you ordered them, or he ordered what he wanted, and we just delivered them and then picked them up and sent them back. And then Salisbury, Wycomco, got the same thing, so it was easier for people to get things that had vision impairment. So that's really improved, it really has, and now it's, you know, on DVDs and all kinds of books, and people have no problem, you know, keeping up with current things. So that's a big improvement.
That was sweet.
Now, when did you hear, how did the decision come about to end the Bookmobile in 1981? How did
That was
happen?
Claudia's
Yes.
doing, and
We had a director that our expenses, so it was told that we had a lot of repairs, and we had about 150,000 miles on the Bookmobile, and we had, it ran into a lot of problems, you know, it really did. But I always thought it was a major thing that was needed. And they, the county commissioners and Claudia decided that it was time to retire it. And the Bookmobile was excellent. I enjoyed it immensely. And people were so good to you, you know, when it was hot weather. Right, Diane?
cool glass of water from Judy Dix. I'll never forget her name.
And then at Christmas, you know, they always had something for you, you know, and you just felt like you were part of their family. And I remember one family, I was telling Diane down at Cineplex, and it was a large family, and the older ones watched the younger ones, and when we got there, honey, they were lined up, ready to get on the Bookmobile, and they were avid readers, all of them, and I thought that was so great. But you really felt appreciated. You really did. Yeah, it was good.
So sad to see the end of the Bookmobile?
oh yes,
Yes.
oh yes. I left, well, my health was not that good, but I left to go into the library as the bookkeeper. We still didn't have the Worcester County thing, and so I did the library bookkeeping for a while. And then when Worcester County took over all of the paperwork for the county workers and all, I left to go to Worcester County Education. I was substitute teacher for a while, and then I worked in the cafeterias as the secretary at Worcester Board of Ed. I still am working for the library, as Norma is. And I have a senior program every month. And I still am a library freak.
Yeah.
But to me, the Bookmobile was a great help, and hopefully those little kids are still reading.